Hey, it's Randy, and in today's video, I'll share with you a few ways to come up with new and exciting topics for your podcast and how to gear those topics to an existing audience or for a new audience altogether. Now, coming up with podcast topics can be the first challenge that you experience when you're creating your own podcast. Luckily, it can be a fun challenge. One of the best and easiest ways to find a topic that people will find compelling and entertaining is to find a topic that you're already passionate about. Just remember, you may be talking about this subject for days, weeks, years even, and in order to limit that workload, prep time, and research, start with a topic that you're already passionate about, where you're already the expert. Make sure that it's broad enough so you can cover a variety of topics, but narrow enough that people will generally know what to expect when they tune in. For me, for instance, that's audio. It would be a no-brainer. I could sit down, I could talk about audio for 4 days without even coming up for air, and I can already think of 10 to 20 guests that I would love to interview. Maybe for you, that's consumer tech, or the history of theater, or good old-fashioned ghost stories. Whatever it is, if you're passionate about it, people will find you and they'll feed off of your enthusiasm. Now, what exactly will each episode be about? Well, we can use data to help us with that decision. One really cool tool is called Answer the Public. I use this all the time. It allows you to search for any topic, and then it returns all of the questions and queries that Google has seen associated with that topic. Then you can review the results and get a feel for what searchers are needing information on, and then incorporate that into your podcast. Here's an example. A cooking company wants to find their next podcast episode. They search the topic cooking, and here's a screenshot of the results from Answer the Public. Now, not every item on this list will fit as like an overarching topic for a whole series, but the data allows you to see these emerging themes at a really high level, and you can draw inspiration from that. Plus, there's a few golden nuggets sprinkled throughout that can be leveraged into these compelling podcast episode ideas. For example, these 4 blue boxes here, they border all of the queries containing to health and cooking. Combining these 4 topics into one episode and including experts in each of these areas would be a great way to thoroughly cover the importance of selecting the right cooking oil depending on your health needs. You can also find some great topic ideas by looking at the suggested searches when you start typing your keyword into Google or YouTube. For instance, these suggestions here are showing up because these are real searches and a massive amount of people have this same question. Now, you don't have to use these exactly, but this can be a great tool to spark some ideas and interest within your niche. The last technique for coming up with a cool episode idea is to think of the guest first and then think of the topic. Think of some interesting people within your topic and within your circle that you may have access to and would be open to coming on your podcast. Then assess what it is about their work or their life that you really admire. This would be a great way to come up with talking points for your podcast for a few reasons. Number 1, you've already qualified their skills and their expertise. Number 2, you're excited by what they do. It's a great starting point. And 3, they're gonna be really enthusiastic to be on your podcast talking about themselves or their work and what makes them happy. If you have a brand new cooking podcast, maybe the best person to start with would be your mom. Pick a few of your favorite recipes from when you were a kid and discuss where they came from, what's the process of creating them, and what was the outcome. Insider tip here, walking people through a process will help keep them engaged for a lot longer. This is a really effective way to achieve expert level storytelling. And it can really be that simple. Now that we have our topics picked, the next step is to start recording. But before that, you should watch this video right here. This is the absolute best guide that we've produced for picking gear and setting up your space to sound as good as possible. I hope this video is helpful. We'll see you guys over there.